Hey guys, with Moira coming out, I wanted to give you some tips for playing her. First though, I want to apologize. I've been playing with her on the PTR for a while, but I haven't been able to get any good footage of her in a regular quick play match. So I want to apologize that it's just a bunch of Moira on Moira gameplay. But first, let's talk about her abilities. I'll be talking to the PC bindings since that's what I play on. On left click is Moira's primary healing ability. It heals for 80 health per second up to 15 meters in front of her. She shoots it out of her hand like a spraying beam, but it isn't a very large cone, so you're going to need to point it at the person you want to heal. The catch is that her healing can only be used for 9 seconds if you are constantly holding down your left click, and then it takes 45 seconds to reload. So you want to balance this by using your healing, but also using your right click, which is a damaging beam. Unlike the heal, your right click has infinite ammo. Theoretically, you can just hold it down constantly, but I don't recommend it because you'll be giving away your position if you do so. But this beam does 50 damage per second and heals Moira for 33 health per second when damaging someone, and the range is surprisingly long at 21 meters. Her next ability is her Biotic Orb. It has a 10-second cooldown, and you can choose to use it as a damaging ability or a healing one. It should be noted that unlike Moira's damaging beam, the damage orb does not heal you. How the orb works is you launch it outward for the duration of 10 seconds. It heals or damages, depending on the version you choose, and it will bounce off walls, so it works really well in tight spaces. However, it can deplete before the 10 seconds are up, and it can also be absorbed by D.Va or reflected by Genji. So the damage orb deals 50 damage per second with a 300 damage maximum, and the healing orb does 75 health per second with a 300 second maximum. Fade is Moira's get out of jail free card. It's bound left shift, and it teleports you a short distance in whatever direction you choose, and it also makes her invulnerable to damage for the duration. It works very similarly to Reaper's shift ability, but Moira's moves faster, but it also lasts less time at only 0.8 seconds, and it has a 6-second cooldown. And finally, Moira's ult, Coalescence. In my experience, this ult can be kind of tricky to use. You shoot the beam forward, and it has a 30-meter range, and it damages enemies for 70 damage per second and heals allies for 140 health per second. And you also heal yourself for 50 health per second while it's being used. The whole thing only lasts 8 seconds. So in the most idyllic situation, you would use it in a team fight where your team is starting to lose health and you can remove yourself from the fight and fire the ult into the fray. It would be best in this situation if it's in a tight corridor so no one can really escape. However, this ult does go through all shields, which is nice, especially if they're running barrier tanks. However, it only works on people within line of sight, meaning if they run behind walls, you will not be able to hit them with the damage or healing component. And this also means a well-timed Zarya bubble can block a decent portion of the ult. Alright, so next I wanted to talk about some tips for playing Moira. Moira's left click heal has a heal over time component, so you don't want to just hold your button and spray it constantly. You want to tap the button. If you play with your sound on, which you really should, you can hear when the hot has ended. Using Moira's right-click ability will speed up the regeneration of your healing ability by up to 5 times. So you'll want to try and seek out kills/damage when you can, and this means that Moira will be very similar to playing Ana or Lucio, in that you really want to stick with your team and not hang in the back. Also, a nice tip to note is you want to spray your team with healing before entering a fight so that they have the hot component going into the team fight. The hot, by the way, lasts 3 seconds. This one I learned the hard way. Don't use your healing while you're in the spawn room. You're going to have to wait for it to recharge when your team needs healing, and it's a long recharge at 45 seconds, and it doesn't recover when you spawn, so good to know. For your right click, it has a lock-on effect similar to Symmetra's, however it doesn't stay attached nearly as easily. Aiming that beam is a lot more similar to how Zarya's primary fire works, and you'll want to be really good at tracking. Also, something I feel the need to point out, Moira is a support hero, so her damage beam doesn't do enough damage to go on killing jaunts by yourself. You're a support, not a DPS, so hang with your team. I wanted to note that the damage orb does not restore your healing resource, unlike her damaging ability, her right click. And if no one is damaged, your healing orb will fly away uselessly. So before launching it out, make sure that someone has taken some damage. This is because the orbs slow down when there's a viable target in range. Someone who needs healing, or someone who needs killing. If you aren't sure which orb to use the healing orb. Healing and the healing it provides greatly outweighs what the damage it does. Also, a tip for the damaging orb, while Moira is still new, shooting the damage orb into the spawn room of the attacking enemies is extremely effective. You can get 10% ult charge or more, depending on how much damage you do to them as they're coming out the doors. A good thing to know is while you're using Fade, your teleport ability, you cannot be targeted by other healing effects like Mercy's beams or Zenyatta's orbs. You can, however, get hit by AoE healing effects like your own healing orb or Anna's grenade. Also, you can carry the momentum from your Fade forwards and perform a bunny hop, very similar to Mercy's guardian angel. Also, a sad thing I learned is there is no vertical movement with Fade. You can't go upwards, unfortunately. You can only go side to side. One thing, I might have mentioned it, but your ult charges really quickly. So you want to use your ult liberally whenever possible. And it's also a really, really bad oh shit button. It is outclassed by Zen's ult in every way in that sense, so you want to be able to use it more in terms of providing the push for your team rather than the, oh no, we're losing, I'm gonna hit it now sort of ult. Anyway, I hope this helps, and I'll be providing more Moira videos in the future, so as Yoshi P says, please look forward to it.